Good evening and welcome back to the home of authoritative news coverage. This is KTN Prime, and it's now time for a studio conversation. As touted earlier, I'm joined by three legislators right here in studio, and we'll get to canvass a couple of issues that have played out in the course of the week. Most recently, we've heard of denials and blame games around the ongoing resurgence of abductions in the country, which is quite worrying. We'll be listening to the legislators on their take on that particular matter, including that particular ruling by the courts on the gender rule when it comes to the constitution of cabinet. Good thing today, our panel is gender balanced. Really happy to say this because it's quite rare when we have two women joining us on the panel, especially this late at night. So kudos, karibuni sana, each and every one of you. Allow me to introduce my guests. I'm joined by the woman representative of Siaya County, Dr. Christine Ombaka. Karibu sana, it's great to have you, Daktari.
Thank you very much for giving us this chance to come here and discuss issues with the Kenyan people.
Asante sana for your time. Looking forward to your input. A familiar face on the show. We're joined by James Gakuya, who's the Member of Parliament for Embakasi North. Karibu sana, Gakuya. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, Rogers.
Yes.
Yes, I'm happy to be with you to this evening.
Asante sana. I saw your name featuring somewhere when it comes to some of the top performing legislators. How was it seeing your name?
I don't think that it's through miracle. It has to be through hard work.
Nikazi.
Yes, it has to be through hard work.
Okay. We'll get to talk about it a little bit later on, but kudos on that. We're equally joined by nominated senator. First time on the show. It's great to have you with us. We're joined by Hezena Lemaletian, who is a nominated senator through the ODM party. Karibu sana. Great to have you with us.
Thank you, Rogers.
Okay,
my
Karibuni. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, it's quite rare, and Gakuya, you can bear testament to this, when we have a gender-balanced panel, where actually there are more women than men, you know? So asanteni sana for honoring the invite. It's really great to walk the talk, not just calling out government for not having implemented that gender rule, but we have to show and lead by example. So karibuni sana.
Thank you very much, because you are the one who invited us looking at the two-third gender rule.
But you know what, we usually invite ladies, but at times you get the reason that perhaps family, it's a little bit too late,
right.
They prefer earlier shows. Is this a reality on your side?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I actually prefer late shows after I'm done with my work.
Okay.
But I think it's a good that you've started implementing the rule.
Kusema na kutenda. Okay, we'll walk the talk. Karibuni sana. Let's start the conversation with an issue that has reoccurred in Kenya's landscape. It's all to do with the abductions that seem to be reoccurring ever since the June 25th commemoration of the Gen Z protests that were held in 2024. And according to the Interior Principal Secretary Raymond Omolo, who spoke 2 days ago, he declared that Kenya has moved beyond the era of abductions, adding that since they took over government, President Ruto has been clear that there will be nothing like that. And the PS further claimed that certain individuals had staged their own disappearances by hiding in their homes or voluntarily admitting themselves to hospital before later resurfacing. Let's just hear what the PS for Interior had to say, verbatim, his words. This is what he had to say.
Tangu tuchukue ushukani na Mheshimiwa Rais William Ruto has been very clear. Katika uongozi wake hakutakuwa na mambo kama hayo. Na pia tumekuwa na watu wanasema wamekuwa abducted ama wametekwa nyara. Mwishowe unapata ni watu walikuwa wanataka kupatia ama kutupa lawama kama serikali, na kwa hakika ni watu walikuwa wamejificha kibinafsi.
Okay, that's part of what the PS had to say. And Daktari, I'd like to begin with you on this, because his remarks sort of contrast the documented reports by human rights organizations. And we've seen Kenya National Human Rights Commission in its annual report covering the period between December 2024 and December 2025, they documented 661 complaints involving arbitrary arrests, detention, torture, abductions, and enforced disappearances. So is the PS gaslighting Kenyans? Is this really a topic that needs plausible deniability from such a senior security ministry official?
Yeah, I want to say that it is a worrying state of affairs, because abductions are dangerous things, because you don't know who's abducting who and where the abductors are from. And the victims tend not to come back alive. There's a lot of deaths around those that have been abducted. And they are abducted, it takes a long time before they actually resurface. Sometimes they come back alive, but maimed. Sometimes it's only the body that is retrieved from the forest or from other places. So the worrying state of affairs is that who are the abductors? Who's doing this? And what is the reason? Because sometimes you look at those that have been abducted and have been detained for wherever it is, there are people who have been in politics in the sense that they've been vocal, they've been talking about the state negatively, or maybe they are in the opposition, or sometimes they're not. And abduction, to me, has resurged in this country in recent times, but we should not forget that we have a history of abduction from as early as in the 80s, when very senior politicians were abducted and they were found dead in the forest. And, they came back after 1 week or 2 weeks when their bodies were discovered in the forest. We have the late Member of Parliament for Kisumu, who was also the Minister for Foreign Affairs. Dr. Robert Ouko was abducted. He disappeared. He came back alive. Okay. The body was retrieved. We have J.M. Kariuki. We have many people we can't count. But I can say that today, the situation is worrying. It's too rampant, and this time, the difference is that the people being abducted this time are younger people, young people who are coming into politics, who are airing their views, and in some instances, we do not know what crime they have committed to be abducted. It is also true, the other side of the coin, that there are those that also are abducting themselves. So people are taking the situation and trying to benefit from it in a way that we don't understand. We need to find out who the abductors are. We need to find out the reasons for abduction. We need to find out what happens to those that abduct others. Because I don't see anybody being arrested or being punished for abducting other people. Where are we in terms of our systems of security? Where is security here? We are not sure whether when we walk out of this KTN station, we'll be abducted on the way. So we live in a state of anxiety. We are afraid, we are scared, we don't know what crime we have committed. We do not know who's waiting to abduct us. Even as politicians, we worry. What we say, it may hurt somebody else. Okay. And maybe that person may abduct us and kill us. We really don't know. We feel so insecure. We feel so unsafe. And I think this is the time to tell the government to capture the abductors.
Well, one might ask if the political goodwill is there. But Gakuya, as you come in, it's clear that some people have stage managed their own disappearances. And your fellow colleague at the National Assembly, Koimburi's name keeps on popping up time and time again as a prime example, though the jury is out there on whether his case is legit or not. But to fully deny abductions are ongoing in the country. What do you make of those sentiments from the PS interior? They seem to be in bad taste, even as there's a youth activist who's currently in hospital just after going through a harrowing ordeal in the hands of his captors for roughly 3 days. What do you make of those sentiments?
First and foremost, allow me to salute viewers whenever they are watching this evening's show. And coming to matters abduction, this is a behavior which is keeping repeating itself. And I thought that since the head of state pronounced himself that no more abductions, no more disappearance of our young ones is going to happen. Mm-hmm. When it keeps occurring, then it keeps now worrying. When the PS want to stand on a camera and tell Kenyans that most of the abductors are those who stage manage their abduction, I would like to say it is contrary, because let us move especially to those abductions that were done immediately after June 25, the first one that the Finance Bill was dropped. That was a period when over 40 number of youths were abducted. And remember, most of them did not even see the light of the day any longer. Most of them disappeared completely, and they were found dead. If you can remember one case, which was brought by the former AG and the former Cabinet Minister Muturi. Remember, his son was abducted. And at a time when he was trying to chase around where his son can be found. Mm-hmm. Remember, he spoke to most of the our state security agencies, and none had any commuter that they are the ones who has arrested his son. But remember, he was forced to intervene with the State House and directed to the head of state for his son to be released where he was. That tells you exactly that the abductors are not foreigners. Abductors are locals. And it is state itself, because that son of Muturi was released from a particular arm of the government. And that is the correct position. And that tells you the abductors are not foreigners. And they are not even our neighbors. Most of the abductions that is real is being done by security agencies. And what we would like to say that is that since the head of state the other day, the head of state borrowed the idea put to him by the ODM that those disappeared and those abducted components had to be honored with stipends. I think I thought that that by contributing that 2 billion Kenya shillings was a clear indication that we have come to an end of this particular exercise. Mm-hmm. But it's wrong that the last Mandamano of June 25, we lost more than 4 youths that are nowhere to be seen. Yeah. And I remember one from Madare was dumped at Kenyatta National Hospital, already molested, and at a state that you would say that somebody was tortured on a manner that it is against the wish of our laws. Okay. I think where we are, because we cannot keep beating the bushes as if we don't know who are the abductors. The PS cannot stand on a camera to say he does not know. He's a PS security. He's a PS interior. If he has no answers, where else do you expect us to get answers from? The answers must come first from the PS himself. Number 2, his CS. Because politically they are the ones holding the political offices. And down the stairs, then you have the IG. The IG should tell Kenyans, where are they abducted? But you realize that sometimes you are taken down, and it's as if nobody wants to respond to that. He understands where those abducted are. Okay. And I want to sum up by saying, it is a tradition that we must come to an end. It is a madness that we must stop. Because one, it's against the law. It is against our constitution. And let me tell you, if you want to arrest somebody and within 24 hours take somebody to court, but not abduct somebody and hide. It is unfair and it's against the law.
Yeah, it shouldn't be held incommunicado. The laws of the land are quite clear.
Yeah.
As you come in, Senator, we've been going through a compensation process. I think the phase 1 finances have been set aside, targeting over 300 victims. What do you make of the aspect of non-repetition? Because this is one of the things that some of the victims were quite clear on, including on that KNCHR report, that non-repetition should be assured. But by the looks of it, the PS says, I don't know. And mind you, ignorance is no defense. At the end of the day, how assured are we that Kenyan youth or people who are agitating for changes in our democracy are actually safe, secure, and if arrested, they'll be provided in court to face charges?
Thank you. And I think it's very important for us as leaders and citizens, responsible citizens, to realize that it's not a time to point blame games or point a finger, sorry. And I will throw the ball to the justice system. I think there is a need for us as Kenyans in general to collectively ask why there is always a delay in the justice process. Because, for instance, one thing I've learned in politics is that it's very obvious that the devils quote the scriptures for their own use. So you are put in a situation where you do not know who's telling the truth and who's lying, in the sense that someone is supposed to be arrested. What is delaying the arrest process? And I'm speaking this having been a victim of this kind of threats. Mweshimo has just spoken about, Honorable Mbaka has just spoken about us now leaving KTN and something could happen. And I thought, that was me a few months ago being threatened. But I do not want to delve deeper into that matter because it's in court. It's a very worrying state if a whole leader can be threatened, what of an ordinary citizen? And the funny part is that even if you take this issue before the justice system, there is always a delay because there are people who can be compromised within every state department. And that is one thing that we must focus on as Kenyans. When you realize a country's so many atrocities are being committed. We came up with the NADCO, one of the recommendations of the NADCO report was to ensure that there is a compensation for the victims of abductions, demonstrations, and all those sorts of things. And we are wondering, up in the north, why would you have a case of repetition of compensation when our own people, the pastoralists in the north, have been dying like flies? Like, we don't relate. So if it's a case of a surplus in the budget for the compensation, they should try and consider other communities that have suffered the brunt of this kind of things for a very long time. The Nyanza people. Yeah. Yes, Baba might not be here, but Nyanza people have died in millions. Exactly. Who's compensating for them? Yeah. Or do we have Kenyans whose blood is more precious than the rest? We all have the same type of blood running through our veins. So if you must compensate a few people, please try and compensate the whole country. Everyone, especially members of ODM who've been victims of demonstrations, who've been I think the whole purpose of the NADCO report was to review all these injustices, again, and not just the few popularized deaths, but all the deaths that matter across our country. And it's very interesting how we have a difference of opinions. Our peers can say this, there is a whole group championing the idea that abductions have become normal. It's important that arrests are made. It's important, I think there's a due procedure when you have you are a relative, for example, of someone who's been abducted. There's a due procedure where you go and report. And if KNHCR has this record, it's important that they publicize it so that we are all aware who are these who are lost. We have had cases, as you had rightfully said, we have had cases where people have abducted themselves for whatever reasons. It could be kids running away from their parents. It could be for political purposes, for so many other reasons, you know, for seeking ransom. We've had these situations. And given that Nairobi is a very, Kenya in general is a very advanced democracy, and Nairobi is a very populated city. Just like any other city in Lagos, these things are as normal as day in a city like Lagos. So there are so many, when again you find out that there is an opportunity to have shortcuts within the judicial system or to compromise them, all sorts of criminals and crooks will arise in a nation, and that eventually will cause anarchy, and that is something that should worry all of us. Those in the broad-based government and those in the opposition.
Okay.
It should worry all of us that there are no arrests that have been made, there are no lists that have been publicized. It could be also, there's been a certain desperation to make sure that nothing works in this country. And I have no apologies for saying that. When you see people working so hard to try and make the government look like it's a failing regime, it's not working. These are people who are capable of going to any extremes. When you have people making very incitory tribal remarks, that is something that can trigger different people. Given that we are about 50 million right now, or thereabout, we are not all the same. Some people don't think as smartly as you do. So a small pronouncement that is incitory from a leader, someone of a very high stature in the society, can be translated to mean something different to someone else. I was listening to a psychologist who said, when someone makes a statement, what you get and what Mheshimiwa Mbaka gets are totally different things.
The translation.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, when you bring up solutions, let's focus on solutions. We have an independent policing oversight authority who recently said out of the over 62 cases of killings that happened in 2024, only 3 cases are actively in court. Over 40 are still going through the rigors of investigations and whatnot. So when we talk about the wheels of justice turning slowly, how do we change it? Let's talk solutions. As a member of parliament, what can you do in your capacity? Is it to summon the CS, the PS? What can we do to ensure that justice delayed is not justice denied?
I am sorry to say this, and again, I have no apologies for saying this. I'm the youth senator, and I owe the younger generation, whom I represent, the truth. The biggest stumbling block, the problem of Kenya is corruption. In every public office, in every system, what you call the system, the manipulation, it's nothing tangible. It's just the fact that you can manipulate any system. And it's sad. Because Parliament is at the center of it.
I just want to add to the point. Even if the government is ready to compensate those who they have violated against, they should stop abducting and killing so that they don't spend too much money compensating. You compensate as much as you kill. So it is important that stop killing, stop abducting and killing for you to stop compensating. If you want to save money, don't do what is going to make you spend money. So if the government is going to spend a lot of money compensating people and they are going to start complaining that they don't have funds, then the first thing they must do is to stop abducting and killing so that there's nobody going to claim any money from them. So it is important that we bring peace here. Two, the government should also know that we have freedom of speech. So when people talk against the government, it's not that they want the government to collapse. Sometimes you criticize the government to correct it. Constructive criticism is not bad. It should be accepted as part of democracy. But nobody wants to criticize the government to bring it down. You criticize to improve it. And I think that is where we need to differentiate why we need justice. Let people express themselves. Let justice be there for those that are harmed in this case. And as you have already said rightly, that justice denied or justice delayed is justice denied.
Okay.
Why should it delay? It should move very fast.
Indeed.
It should move very fast
Okay.
for everybody to understand that we need justice to be on time so that we don't spend too much money with lawyers and so many things. The young people, the Gen Zs, the reason why they don't even seek justice is because it's too expensive also. Justice in this country is expensive. You have to have lawyers. It takes a long time. You spend money traveling from upcountry to Nairobi to listen to your case. It is costly.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And it might cut off people. Yeah.
You see, just to add on to what Mheshimiwa has said, there is a saying that I don't want to say it fully, that you cannot cure a diarrhea by covering, you know what it says. And look at what that can cause when you don't address the root cause of a problem. We have just lost lives in a place called Loiborngare in Samburu West, in Likek Sapuki in Samburu West, in Charda in Samburu North, and in several parts of Samburu County. This past 1 week, we have lost over 5 lives.
Well, why is that?
Cattle has been stolen in Samburu County, where I come from. And you look at, there has been a disarmament exercise for our neighbors. We are bordering the Pokot, who've become a certain hotspot within West Pokot, within Baringo County, which has become notorious for harassing and taking livestock and lives from the Samburu. That is a stone throw away from Maralal town. We hear of disarmament. Our people are taken, they disappear, there's been disarmament, the firearms have been confiscated from them, and then suddenly you are left without anything to defend yourself, and your neighbor attacks you, fully loaded with guns, with weaponry that the previous regime has even said were more powerful than what the government had. And then you wonder, what is happening? Why are the people from that particular constituency in Pokot, why is it that there is nothing the government can do to disarm these particular people? Because they are wreaking havoc on the Samburu, on the Turkana of Charda, in Samburu North. And you wonder, where is the gun trade happening? Who is supplying weaponry? Where are these guns coming from? Can the government have the capacity to close the gun trade in order to secure the livelihoods of the Samburu?
But we've had them
the
talking
Turkana
about it time and time again.
Yeah.
Is
It's
the
not
goodwill
making
there?
sense. It's not making sense. So as much as I'm in the broad-based government, I also need answers as to who is supplying the gun. Which of our borders is porous enough for the, Baringo County, and from the map where it is located.
Briefly,
to get there, you must pass through Samburu County, Marsabit County, Isiolo County, Turkana County. How are the guns getting to Tiati in Baringo County?
Did you ever get answers? Have you raised this with the relevant authorities?
There are no answers.
No answers.
When there are some of these ministers, you send them messages, they won't respond.
Interesting. So political goodwill is something that's clearly
within
lacking.
That ministry.
Okay.
A big one.
A big one,
Yes.
So you've been on the receiving end as a member of the united opposition. Instances of goonism, instances of state heavy-handedness, case in point perhaps with Tima Church in Othaya. What was the response when you file a complaint with the relevant authorities? Is the goodwill there? Is there any progress whatsoever in terms of getting to the bottom of this matter? Have police officers been transferred, those who have been found culpable? Well, what's your experience?
Lord Judge, what I would say on the onset is that a country is being built by what we call rule of law, and it has to operate within rule of law. When you have a constitution, that constitution is to make sure that it levels, standardizes, so that everybody will be within the premises of that particular constitution. But you realize that, in fact, we have a government which, first and foremost, doesn't respect the other arms of government. You may realize that you are blaming justice from maybe our court of justice. But who is the implementer? The implementer of any single judgment made by a court is the government. Because the government are the implementers. If today there is a court order, who implements that court order? It is an officer. If that officer is being instructed from above not to implement that order, is that order going to be implemented? It means you have ignored the court. And this is a problem that we are in, that the state is the one to set perimeters. Because state is there. It is given by the mandate by the people. There's so many people who vote for a particular government. And this is a delegation. They delegate power to that government. So that government plays a custodianship on behalf of the people. In this case, people are complaining every single other day. Who is supposed to be responding to people? Because I don't think that, in fact, you can tell us that you have NIS, which is being well funded.
By taxpayers, man.
By taxpayers. So that it can be informing you as the government what is likely to happen on what's about to happen. Anything that happens here is well known because the intelligence has already done their work and they have informed you. But you might ignore, because after being informed, the choice to implement is you, whether you agree with the one who informed or not. But I would say, the manner in which we are repeating series of disappearance, killing, abduction of our youth, this is a clear indicator that we have no respect to our youth. Because first and foremost, when youth or when the children are crying, first and foremost, a first I to ask, why are you crying? First, most likely they're hungry, or probably they need something. These youth for Kenya, they are clamoring for something. And I respect the president because he used a lot of wisdom in the first dropping of the finance bill that was there, 2024, 2024. Because by doing so, he brought the tempers down. And that's how a wise leader works. But let me tell you, you should not silence these voices by manner of abducting them, by manner of killing them. It's not the way to go. Because you need to respond by giving solutions. And if Kenyans and those that are building up every other day, because youths are coming from colleges, from universities every year in numbers that are thousands and thousands. But as a government, you must be ready. And that's why you go and ask mandate from the people. That give me this mandate so that I can be able to implement what you people are willing to, are asking to, are desiring to. So when the youth are saying, we are jobless, who is supposed to respond to them? You are not supposed to respond to youth by manner of crumbling them, by manner of silencing them. That if somebody tutors to a tutor or tutor to X, then you're hunted like an antelope. This is not the way to go. And let me tell you, let me summarize by saying, if you are given power because the power is given by people for 5 years, within that 5 years, make sure that you coordinate with the people and don't be a lone ranger. But once you become a lone ranger, that you want to rule people who gave you power, you must also get back to the Constitution and ask the Constitution, what does the Constitution say? Because the Constitution is the one who gives you power. And once you swear in, you know, first and foremost, you have a responsibility. One, to protect the Constitution, protect the people, and their properties. But even, let me tell you, who else do you expect we are going to ask questions? If not you governments who are given power. We have given you power to do the three. Protect us, protect our properties, and protect the Constitution. In fact, if you are telling us now, like the CS, that you don't know what's happened, is he responding to a question being asked by a Somalia or a question asked by a Kenya?
But tell me this, Gakuya. because we have to talk about parliamentary oversight. What can Parliament do? Can the parliamentary oversight committees, some on those responsible, try and get to the root cause of this matter? Where are the members of the 13th Parliament in this whole debacle about reinforced or enforced disappearances and the reemergence of abductions? Where are you?
Let me say this also. Every single committee have a duty to do thorough investigation. Because whether the matter is in court or not, a committee is not anywhere prohibited by the law not to do their own investigation. So the committees that are in charge of those departments, that if it is interior or any other department that is related to what we call security, the powers to do that is within those committees.
Have they done this before? No, it's not your first time in Parliament.
In fact, I have seen a fleet of meetings with those security agencies. But I can tell you, I have not seen any report on the table that actually recommends what we should do. Because after doing a verification, I think that committee should make a report. Because we could not say, like today, the claim that my sister is claiming here, you know, Samburu is Kenya, and Pokot is Kenya. And you don't have to have a double standard. You need to apply one standard in both areas.
Across, yes.
So that the Samburu can enjoy. And if these guys want to come to steal cattle, let them come without budugi. But if they are coming armed, why are you disarming the others? If you want to disarm in holistically, so that you disarm from everybody. But you cannot tell us you are protecting Pokot to have guns when you want to disarm Samburu. And they all, we want to say that they all enjoy one constitution, one rule of the constitution.
It cannot.
It cannot.
Briefly, before we cross over to Senator.
Sorry.
Every other single brain, even though we sleep here, we will say that in fact, we have given power to have a full minister who is in charge of interior. If we have issues to do with our borders, we have KDF, so we have a minister to ask. But if things are happening outside in our domestic, then we have an interior minister. But we have a minister who last time said those youths should be shot if they are seen anywhere near police station. We have a president who also lamented that shoot them on the leg. So if this is the way to go, my good friend, I don't think that's the way to look for solutions. These are youths that we need to lecture, understand, know where they have been pinned. Because we know, in fact, after taking a scope of your education, at the tail end, you are expecting to enjoy fruits of your education.
All right.
Today, those degrees are jobless outside there. So, and you know, when you have jobless people in big tune like the way we have today, then no, those are devil's workshop. Then the government should be doing serious here locally. And let me tell you, as much as my good president is trying to do enough by exporting of skills, I would wish that he's doing times 10 locally, trying to create jobs here locally, not only in housing. We can't all of us cannot be eating housing.
Indeed. Well, Kenya Kwanza says they've created over 600,000 jobs in the housing sector.
Those are the fields, including industrialization.
All right. So let's finalize on this particular matter, starting with you, Daktari.
You said earlier, you asked a question, what Parliament can do. But we have different committees that would go out to do investigation, come up with a report, and present it in Parliament.
And what happens to those reports?
Let me tell you, the failure to those reports is the implementers, because those reports have recommendations. Parliamentarians make recommendations, take action along these lines. And then you give it to the respective cabinet ministers. This is, if it's in health, this is a recommendation on health issues. If it's in security, the same. But now, parliamentarians are not implementers. We do our research, we come up with the reports and recommendations, we hand over to the implementer. So the problem is with the implementer, the various ministries that are charged with those responsibilities.
And can't you hold them to account? Your power stops?
We do. We hold them to account.
We have a committee,
we have
which is implementation committee, which must be, has to follow to make sure that all what is being passed by every resolution made by the House is being implemented.
Okay.
So there is a committee who is sleeping on this job.
Yeah. Simple. Senator, finally on this matter.
Well, I don't know if I'm allowed to clap on the show. I almost clapped for Honorable Gakuya because I feel good when I hear more voices championing for justice to the northern parts of the country. And I want to add also that one thing that Parliament can also do is to fight corruption from within and without. So as long as we are not fighting corruption, we are not leading by example, and we are not ensuring that we address the thorn of corruption. And I say this as a former employee of EACC. As long as we are not fighting corruption and bribery, and the masters of this game know who they are, as the young people in this country, we are disappointed. And what a time to be a young person in the Parliament of Kenya. I think if I was not sitting as a parliamentarian, I would be very honest, I would have so much to say, but too bad because I'm sitting as one.
So you have to protect. Anyway, tell me this, because Parliament, the 13th Parliament, has been on the receiving end when it comes to, they looked at as an appendage of the executive, that money can talk when it comes to making decisions, and at the end of the day, decisions might not be made for the benefit of the people, but to please the state and the powers that be. So if you say fight corruption, yet Parliament might be an embodiment of the corruption we're supposed to fight.
What I mean is that Parliament is a perfect representation. Both houses are a perfect representation, a sample representative of the Kenyan population. If there is a murder out there, you can be sure they have their representative. If there's a thief out there, you can be sure they have their representative. If there's a corrupt person, you can be sure there is a good representative within. So what I'm saying is that corruption needs to be a collective responsibility. Look at the voter. For many parliamentarians to be where they are, they had to bribe to buy votes. They had to lure people. For ordinary support today, you cannot find someone who is being genuinely supported by the masses. The politicians have to dish out what they call handouts.
Do you do that?
Who is actually corrupt?
Do you do that?
I know of a politician who will buy young people alcohol to just go there and abuse people and vote or do something.
So what do you do that when you're mobilizing?
I don't do that. And they know that. And I keep telling them, if one day I fail to be a politician because I'm doing that, I will go take care of my camels. But let me tell you, it has to start from within. Each Kenyan, we have to say no to corruption. We have to say no to bribery. I remember when I was in high school, it was very hard to get bursaries in Samburu. And when we queued at one MP's office, the MP just told us, I owe you nothing. And we were university students. I owe you nothing because I bought the votes of your parents anyway. So what were we supposed to do as young people? Again, you can bend the law with money. It turns out. Look at, there's corruption everywhere. Look at the rankings. The other day we were seeing, we have had exposés from colleagues about how some poll rankings, pollsters are being paid to rank people. There are obviously a few of them who are genuinely working hard for the people. But there are those who, and imagine they will put up such a good show. They'll even give speeches. But we know these guys have been exposed before. They have approached our colleagues. They have approached us for money. And they will be putting up a very fantastic show. That just shows how gullible Kenyans are. And the day we stop corruption in this country is the day we put the record straight in this country and we straighten everything. And it has to start from individuals. The day you start being patriotic and say, this country is my responsibility. Let me not bribe. Let me not throw garbage. Let me be responsible from within. Then we're able to change this country. But as long as the game is buying You buy anything. You buy freedom, you buy justice, you buy what? You buy, you know very well you killed somebody. This is a very straightforward case, but you can buy your way out. Yeah. You know you stole. Some people, even constituencies, are getting over 100 and something million. There is no reflection of this on the ground. Why? Because the parliamentary or whoever it is, or a certain government institution will just buy a few people and pass something. You said you're a former EACC employee. Do you have faith in the anti-graft body, your former employer? I do, absolutely. Then why are they not dealing with this issue? Listen, no, it is because corruption has metamorphosed over the years. It's no longer the bribery you think you give to a police, you have done what? It's no longer that. It has metamorphosed in so many things. There's something called form. Do you know what that is, Rogers? There's something called form. Ask any politician. They will be asked for form. Niaje form, tutafanya chenye. And what's that form? What is it? Form is you give the youth something small and they do whatever you want. Whom do you want them to attack? We'll give them. And then they will sing praises to somebody who is not worthy of any praise. Senator is very right. You know, we have to call a spade, not a big spoon, to set this country straight. Briefly. I'm just saying Senator is very right. We are corrupt right from top to bottom. Everybody is corrupt. Everybody. Even the church, even anywhere you go, in the market, in the schools, everywhere, there's corruption. Even in hospitals, people are corrupt there. So this corruption is a big, big cancer. It's the only cancer. That everybody who is corrupt should stop it. How it will be stopped, God knows, because it has sunk deep. It's a cancer that has penetrated. Politicians are themselves corrupt, but other people also corrupt politicians. We are going for elections. You're going to see how much money is going to be spent on campaign. And you may call it buying votes. Let it be. But people will buy votes. I don't know where money comes from, but huge sums of money will be spent on young people to vote, luring them to go and vote. If right now you walk in the streets and you are a politician, you find young boys, they will stop you. They say, I'm hungry. I want some money from you. I know you are a member of parliament. They think that we have money all the time. We can dish it all the time. What's that? Is that not corruption? Some of them even write on your phone, send you a message and say, tutakutana kwa debe. If you refuse to do this, tutakutana kwa debe. It means if you don't give me money, you will fail. We will make sure we don't vote you. So corruption to me is everybody. And everybody, therefore, are responsible to stop it. Because we are all victims, we are all perpetrators of it, and therefore we are responsible to stop it. Who will crack the whip? I don't know, but it has sunk. The whip has to be cracked from the head. The day we start arresting, in fact, I wish I could be given that job and told, crack the whip on everybody. We need actual people to be arrested. We need people to be really so scared of circumventing the justice system, of bribing, of manipulating anybody. We need to completely remove, is it called campaign money or something? We need people to campaign with zero, with nothing. Then that day, Kenya will be set straight. But as long as there is corruption, there is buying of anything, we will continue having problems. Because you can also buy goons to beat somebody. So do you support EACC? And those goons will beat this person today and tend to beat the other person. That's a reality, It is a reality. Do you support EACC getting prosecutorial powers? I 100% support. It should be. Why? I have worked there before. They do a lot of work. There are days we couldn't sleep. Those officers are really, really overworking themselves. And let me tell you, of all the places I've worked in this country, I was very proud working for EACC because I felt like I am making a change for this country. I'm doing something that is transformative. And then once the case is done, EACC does the handiwork. They collect evidence, they compile, they file reports. And then who does this report get to? ODPP. ODPP. And the ODPP needs to be, a whip needs to be cracked. All right, they're not here to... Because they are the ultimate decision makers. Exactly. You know.
Gakuya, let's shift focus to other matters, because we can talk about corruption until the chicken come home to roost, as they say. I'd like you
But we have agreed in one thing.
Yes.
That the whip has to be correct from the top. Because if a country has to take a particular mood, that mood has to be set from the top.
Yeah.
And if we want to zero it, if you want to zero the corruption, you must crack the whip from the top. But if the top is corrupt, you must expect even the
tail
to take something.
You know, they say the fish starts to
rot from the head. Then the entire thing will flow down.
Let's talk about the High Court ruling that recently declared the composition of the cabinet unconstitutional for failing to meet the 2/3 gender rule. And President William Ruto was given 120 days to reconstitute cabinet and meet that constitutional gender threshold before the deadline. And of course, government can appeal that particular ruling, but the court said that at least 9 women are needed to meet the 2/3 gender requirement in the cabinet. I'd like to begin with the ladies, starting with you, Senator, because during the 2022 campaign, our dear president committed to bridging that gender gap. I remember him signing a women's charter for Kenya Kwanza where he promised 50-50 slots, men, women in cabinet. And we're now 4 years into this administration, and the courts seem to be forcing the issue. As I said, government can appeal, but why is it that the political class is barely reacting to court orders rather than proactively fulfilling a basic constitutional promise that was made to the women in Kenya?
That reminds me a conversation I had when I was hosting the African Women Audacity Summit here in Nairobi. And one of the speakers said that gender equality in Africa is almost like an illusion, especially in Kenya. And it's funny how we've had this law in our constitution for a very long time. The implementation has been the problem, just like is with every other law. Since I joined parliament, I've been thinking of which bill to bring. But I look at the constitution, it's satisfactory. There's just a gap in implementation of almost everything. When you talk about, for example, the 2/3 gender rule, it's been there. Implementation has been the problem. All these other things have been stories, to be honest. And then there's the issue of affirmative action on, for example, making sure that the youth have the access to the tenders and they are specially reserved for the youth. What is happening? Corruption again. You know, Rogers, as much as you want to talk about so many things, I will still bring the topic to corruption. Because look at that issue, for example. You have tenders 30% reserved for the young people. What is happening? All the people are registering companies using their children's names and stuff like that, or people who have no clue, people's IDs, and then they are doing business. The young people are still poor. The young people are still jobless. The women of Kenya are still jobless. There is a requirement for every state department to have a certain at least 2/3 of the, and by the way, it's either gender. So if there are more women, that needs to be men. So that has been in the constitution. There is also a reserved percentage for minorities, every state department. But let me tell you, when I was hustling for a job, so many state departments had no minorities. I was working for a whole state department before I went to ESCC. And we were only 2 Samburus. Me in the headquarters, and I was just a very junior officer, and another person in another parastatal away from the headquarters. The whole headquarters had only me. The problem with our country is implementation. Okay. But when it comes to the political aspect of it, we have so many challenges. One of it is the cultural aspect. When it comes to seeking for political positions, for example, I have come out to say that I'm vying for senatorial position in Samburu County. You will not believe the amount of threats I have gotten being told that position, don't touch it because it's reserved for the men. And I'm like, okay, I'll be a man for the time being.
So what's reserved for women rep?
So exactly. So for about 15 counties in Kenya, the pastoralist counties, which are very patriarchal. And by the way, somebody needs to make me understand how patriarchy came into these communities, because culturally it's not practical. And they will say that there are seats that are reserved for women. Even the whole of Northeastern, I'm talking about 15 counties that cover 75% of Kenya's landmass. Do not imagine women holding gubernatorial positions, senatorial position, and we are just reserved for women rep and below, like MP seats. And even to get that is quite a hurdle. So for me, I got threats, and I was told that position is not for a woman. You need to go for other seats. And I'm like, I'm not stopping. I've actually been re-energized, emboldened to want that position even more. Now, when you look at our communities, women don't hold power to own property, to own land, to own. It's been a process to ensure that women get title deeds, of which we have worked hard to ensure that we are getting this since the time of President Uhuru. We have ensured that more women are getting title deeds, more women are owning property, and it's taking some of us to shatter the stereotypes and try to say, you know what, I can also be tough. I'm telling my people, I can go to the battlefront the same way these men are going. I can go and defend my people. If I won't do it by gun, because it's illegal and it's criminal, I have to do it with my voice in parliament. So let me go and fight these battles using my voice. And it's, again, a collective responsibility. We need to look at countries which have put women at the key decision-making tables. A good example, which I really love, is Namibia, for example. We have the Namibian president. What did she do? She put a woman as the deputy president. She put, Namibia got a woman as the speaker, I think, of the National Assembly, a woman as the head of the judiciary. Look at the reforms Namibia is making. Because women don't take nonsense. I don't want to use a bad word. The president goes on record. She goes on record and fires somebody for failure to cooperate. Men will not do that because they can be easily compromised. A man will be told, come, we talk kando, and then suddenly things have changed. The corrupt person has been forgiven.
Is not smiling at that.
The person is back.
It seems you're condemning the whole.
Because Gakuya's community, women, it's called the House of Mumbi. First of all, they are free to be led by a woman. They saw the light long time ago before the rest of the community.
Okay, Dr. Mbaka, as you come in, give us your reaction to that High Court ruling. Let's start there.
The two-third gender rule, it came to Parliament when I was there, I think 2014, 15. It's been there 3 times and fails. People vote no. On the day of voting,
there's no quorum.
There's no quorum. They will vote no, or they will abstain. So it has failed in Parliament. But still, I'm happy to say that it has sunk in people's mind that people must obey the two-third gender rule. When appointments come to Parliament, when we look at various appointments, we always check how many men are there, how many women are there. We always are sensitive to the fact that two-third gender rule is obeyed. Much as we do that, the entire country still don't listen to that. They still haven't implemented it 100%. First, it has failed in Parliament. We still need to bring it back to Parliament to pass it so that it becomes law. But outside, it's already picking up, but failing. It's picking and failing. I'm happy the president said that he was going to employ 50%, 50% women, 50% men. We are yet to see. But at least his government, there are women there. Right now, we are happy to say that we have 6 governors. We were 7, but we lost one of them, so we have 6. So women are rising. They are coming up. But because there's no law, they can disappear again. We are not too sure that when 2027 comes, we are going to see more women as governors, more women as parliamentarians. We don't know how many will come, and we also don't know how many will be appointed in various positions. How are we going to bring women on board? Because still women are behind. Because of what a senator has said, cultural problems are there. Culture is terrible because it is how we are brought up to believe that gender, the male gender is more powerful than the female gender. That's why even traditionally, the boys were taken to school before the girls. The girls were always at home to cook and to fetch water and to wash clothes and take care of the family. Well, the boy child was going to school. So those are the issues that we still need to address today in modern society. We still have to look at where is the girl child. But in some communities that have risen, I think in some communities the girl child has done pretty well. And they're like slightly above the boy child. Now we are beginning to think of the boy child, bring the boy child up so that we do not sit on the boy child again.
Okay.
So the two-third gender rule has to be worked on again because we want to prepare the future to have both women and men on equal terms, equal opportunities, fairness, let every girl, every boy go to school, receive jobs, and be treated on equal terms. We must also think about inheritance. Even girls can inherit land from their fathers because you may get married and that marriage may break. You come back to your original home, to your parents again. You need a house. You may have children. We must look at the problems the girl child is facing even when she gets married and her marriage does not work.
So back to the cabinet constitution. Do you have faith in President William Ruto heeding to this court order and perhaps appointing 2 more women in cabinet?
I see him positively in the sense that if originally he had wanted 50% of women and 50% of men in various positions of power, then I can see he's a very positive person and that two-third gender rule is achievable in his time.
And what happens to the broad-based experts? Because one of them might be sacrificed, ODM members. Isn't it a political quagmire for the president?
It is a political quagmire, but we are not insisting that we get stuck with the people who are there. Presidents, even in the past, always reshuffled cabinet. In their reshuffle, they can bring women. I don't know when that will happen, but that is not to say that the men who are holding various positions are bad people. They are not saying they are not qualified. They are doing well, only that women are not there.
And Rogers,
before you cross over to the Queen,
ODM is not short of more women. There can be always, we are siblings, so if the man quits, the woman can come in. And I also have very strong faith in the ability of the President, William Ruto, to implement that, given the fact that it is in this moment that we have witnessed a woman heading the judiciary, a woman heading the LSK, and having so many women within the cabinet. Even more so to pride with is having the first Ma woman to be in cabinet, so Ipan Tuya. My goodness, I don't think there is anything that President Ruto cannot do.
Interesting. Gakuya, from outside looking in, we've heard of this reports that perhaps the male-dominated National Assembly is not too open to making this gender rule in elective positions a law. So as a male MP who has been in consecutive parliaments, what exactly is the issue? What's the bottleneck? What's stopping us from enacting this into law, even as you speak on the challenges perhaps women face in elective positions?
On the outset, what I would like to say is that since we have given a mandate to the electorate to choose representation, is a decision that is made and purely left to the electorate. And they have right to choose either gender. They can choose male or female gender. And when that gender is elected, it represents everybody. Because if we elected a male, you represent women, you represent men, and you represent children and everybody else. So in this case, I would like to say it is very hard to get that particular approval of 2/3 from the bottom of election, unless mechanisms are made.
Affirmative.
Because if you move down to the electorate, they will give you what they want. And they cannot really care whether, when they give you a female, whether that gender balance will be there or not. If once they give you a man, whether that gender balance will be there or not. And when that composition does not give you the fraction you want, then I think during the nominations is where equalization can be done. Because after now election is when you can be able to gather what you are lacking. And if you are lacking a particular gender, then the law should be very clear.
Okay.
If a particular gender is the one missing, then in the nomination formula, then we should pick the other gender from all nomination positions. That's the only way we can go. Because we cannot punish the Wanjiku to choose a particular gender. That is her choice, and squarely allow her to make her choice. But if she chooses less gender from the one that, then that balance should be taken care of.
And what about the cabinet level? Because it's down to the appointing authority.
No, in cabinet level, the head of state, I would see, has what you call power. He has what you call the plenary power to pick, because there is no such, there is not that president that has made a choice of a particular gender, and the parliament has zeroed that gender. It's only that the choices, the parliament ticks or approves the choices which are brought by names that are brought by the president. Otherwise, the one who was mandated to choose is the president. And if you want to make a gender balance, he will just make a gender balance right to the point of nominating.
Why hasn't Parliament enacted the law?
Because it has to be, sorry.
What I can tell you why Parliament has not enacted that particular law is that most of the time male feels that there will be the way of nominating these balances sometimes is not fair. Is boyfriends and girlfriends. So those are the factors that sometimes fails.
You know, we have a nominated senator here.
That is quite an insult. My friend, we made it here by virtue of our hard work, merit, intelligence,
Let me just finish.
Before we come to you, just conclude.
No, he must
Feel free to
apologize
withdraw
for that.
and apologize in
He
case.
must apologize for that.
Let's give him space to articulate his issue.
Just apologize.
No, I'm sorry for that.
Proceed, Gakuya.
But also let me tell you, Rogers, that we believe that the House is well represented because it represents the people of Kenya and it represents the face of Kenya. And the choices are made right from the grassroots by the people. Therefore, I don't see why we must make the House so brutal by means of making these balances. Because already the team that is already in the House is capable of representing, because Wanjiku has made his choice.
So you're against affirmative action seats? Or what?
That, I have no problem with affirmative, but what I'm trying to tell you is that Wanjiku as the person who is represented in the House has already made her choice.
But Rogers, you must look at the role of the women reps. The women reps are 47. That position was created to give women a head start, so that when election takes place, then we have 47 women straight away. Then we can add more women in various positions, like MP for single constituencies.
Yes.
But that's where the challenge is for women. Not many will come back, not many will get the position. That's where men and women fight to get seats. So we don't get enough from that. So we are sure of 47. But we need more to get the 2/3 out of that.
Will you be transitioning from woman rep to member of parliament? That's what you intend in 2027?
I intend, 2027, okay. I will be transitioning from woman rep to MP for Game constituency, because it's an affirmative action seat, and I want to leave it to another woman to take it. strengthened enough 3 times, ready to fight with other men in that position of single constituency.
That's proper.
And so that's what I'm doing.
Okay, Senator, clarify. Tokenism?
I don't know if you have noticed how Gakuya has contrasted himself. He began very, very well by saying that if the electorates choose as one gender, for example, the affirmative action should top up for the gender that is less.
Yes.
And then towards the tail end of his statement, he said the opposite. So this is why I think men should be left out of the conversation on gender. Let me tell you, if those men did not bite that fruit at the Garden of Eden, we wouldn't be here suffering. We will be somewhere naked, just covering our essentials with green grass or leaves and enjoying the fruits in the Garden of Eden. But it's because of this gender that we're here toiling day and night. Look at us. We will be at home sleeping, but we are here trying to educate the masses. And Rogers, I want to agree with my sister, and I really commend you for not being a gatekeeper, for opening the way for women and leaving the seat for other women. That's very commendable, and I think you ought to be celebrated countrywide. It's very rare to get women supporting other women. Let's begin it there. It's not just this gender that, I don't know if you have understood, Honorable Gakuya, our friend, has just said that whenever the moment comes to vote in this issue, this bill, there is a gender, a particular gender that is missing. And so there is no quorum to pass these issues. But I also think because they are very quite manipulative, I think there is a way they might have also influenced the women. And you see, you cannot say nominations are a matter of tokenism. Look at me, for example. I'm not anybody's girlfriend in ODM. And if the person is out there, he should come and tell me so that I can stop being single. Number 2, I didn't know anybody within the ODM campaign. My late Baba, Right Honorable Raila Odinga, spotted me in an event fighting for the rights of my people. The time people were murdered when Matiang'i was the CS in Laikipia. And I spoke very strongly that there was no Azimio until the people in Laikipia were compensated. And Baba spotted me from that event and said, I want this girl. So I wonder whose girlfriend I was. I do not know a single nominated senator or MP from ODM who was anybody's girlfriend. So that is very, very lame to say. Some of us were intellectuals in school. We were top students. I have never been position 3 in my entire life. So these men should know what they are talking about. And I think he's very lucky. I think he must be a father of daughters because he has apologized immediately.
Indeed.
Tomorrow, it will be his daughter being there or appointed to a state job. And he will understand the brunt that women bear for being told you rose in the corporate ladder for being a girlfriend to somebody. And I always tell people, if you know the formula, most of the people who say this have not been there themselves. Look at our colleague. He has not been nominated before, so he won't understand. You know, he's been elected.
Though he did
withdraw.
He
did withdraw, which I really like.
Okay.
And the moment you hear somebody saying a certain girl, a certain lady rose up the ladder, whether in the political space, in the private sector, the corporate, wherever it is, even in the pageant where I came from as a retired model. Whenever you hear somebody say that, I always tell them, if you know the formula and it is as easy as that, why don't you do it? So that we meet at the top.
So nominations are based on merit. Though you said in ODM. Perhaps he has experience from UDA, and that's why he's speaking.
Oh, I forgot he's from UDA, but I have to speak on what I know.
Okay, indeed.
And ODM we really worked hard.
All right.
All the nominated women really worked. I remember being told to step down from my seat, vying for Women Rep Samburu County in favor of a Jubilee candidate because of the zoning issue. And by the way, I never even wanted the nomination. I was applied for the nomination by my friends because they are very, very worthy friends. So they applied for nomination for me and I got it. And I remember I was the SG of Vijana Narao, I was in Daughters of Raila, and I was in the presidential campaign team. I traversed this country from north to south, east to west.
I met her in
Waiting
Siaya.
for votes
You met her,
for
yeah.
Raila Odinga.
Yeah,
And I'm sure you remember me because I was dressed in my Samburu
Yes.
regalia,
Indeed,
the
indeed.
Queen of the North.
Okay.
And I fought for it. So for anybody to come and go and check my academic records.
Aye. We withdraw and apologize. So it's clear that perhaps nominations are based on merit. She's speaking from high experience in the ODM party.
Actually,
Roger,
Briefly.
what I wanted
We'll
to
come
say
to you.
is that even ODM, they would like to nominate women who have tried to contest but didn't make it, so that your strength is seen, so that the fairness is also observed. And when you are nominated, nobody complains. And I think that is a good move to that ODM is doing, and they will do it again in 2027. Nominated women will be those that have tried to contest and have not made it.
All right, Gakuya.
What I would like to say is that once we have made it in the NAD trial, and it has flopped. If they've tried the NAD trial, the fourth trial, then that particular clause need to be amended, so that you should not force the parliament to have to do that. Leave this mandate to Anjiku. Allow Anjiku to choose her choice. And any choice is a good representative. Because it represents the whole gender in the community. And I don't think that there is anything that is so special to have these numbers in numbers. What matters is the numbers to represent Wajiko on the grassroots. And if you have 290, you can have the 290 even without nominated. We are lucky that, in fact, this constitution, the current, has given a room of 47 seats for free. I think they can accept what is available. And if the other one is not possible, we leave it.
You know what? On the flip side, I hope you'll say the same thing when Parliament is dominated by women.
I have a question.
If there's any future in that,
I have a question for our colleague. So, are men ready to legislate on issues that are are sensitive to women? Are they willing to sit down and agree that we need to pass these laws for the benefit of our gender?
Another point.
Another
point is this: 2/3 gender rule, at this point in time, is going to benefit women. All that we need is the way we have sat. You need 2 women and 1 man, or 2 men and 1 woman.
2 out of 3.
Time will come when men are few, too few, and the 2/3 gender rule will apply to them, so that they will not be as few as they may be without the 2/3 gender rule. So it is going to help both genders.
Yes.
So while the men are fighting it, I don't understand. It is something that is going to benefit the men as well, because time is coming when men will be too few in parliament or in any other place where 2/3 gender rule need to be implemented.
They are an endangered species.
Okay, let's give Gakuya a chance to reply. Finally, Gakuya.
So let the men benefit from it as well in future.
Rogers, I have no problem.
Yes.
Nice.
But only what I'm focusing is that we have a house that you should not have too brutal one. Remember now we have 349
Yes.
In parliament. And then you want to add more numbers because of representatives of that gender gap. I wish, since this cannot be done directly, as I explained there before, during the election time, because you cannot say at the constituency A has to be a gender, a particular gender, and constituency B has to be a particular gender.
You have a point, yeah.
Then what we should do is to agree. We have the 47, the women. That one we don't require to scrap anywhere in future. We retain, and then we agree. Any gender that is not forming, that's not equipping, we have made it mandatory that nomination formula to favor that gender that is not equalized. Period. and you forget it because it's there.
Okay, so you do support these nomination seats. You're not against them.
Yeah. I have no problem with the nomination.
Okay.
Let any gender that's not for me.
Less.
That's less.
Yeah.
Benefit out of that.
Oh yeah, fair point. Yes. I think we have agreed to agree.
Yes.
There's no disagreement right there. Yeah. I'll have to give you final sentiments, chance to give your final thoughts as we finalize, because we're pressed of time, perhaps a minute each or less as we finalize this particular conversation that has been quite forthcoming. Asanteni. We'll start with the gentlemen, then the ladies. Okay. Let's start with you, Gakuya.
Let me take this opportunity to tell Kenyans that this country is their country, and they are the one who crafts the constitution, and the constitution is what it represents. I believe even what today we are talking about, the two-third, if you want to minimize this problem, just make sure that at the time of election, when elections are on, just try to make some balances. If you have a strong lady, give him a chance. And if wherever you have a strong gentleman, give him a chance. By doing so, the balance will automatically natural. And we will not have this problem of asking Parliament to do ABCD. But I have no problem in future. Okay. If it seems to be mandatory, then I have no problem. It's only that I has been in this house 3 times that this vote is being taken, and I have seen how bitterly it has shut down.
Okay, Gakuya, before we cross over to Senator, we saw you at Wamunyoro just the other day defending press freedom, and we understand Rigathi Gachagua took a 45-day hiatus to perhaps speak to the people in terms of identifying one united opposition presidential candidate. Is there any progress whatsoever? How soon can we know your presidential candidate?
What I would say is that, remember, Gachagua is not the key decision maker in who will be the single presidential candidate. What he's doing is consulting his base, so that by the time he will move to the table, he will be able now to have the backing and support from his community. And I think it is the duty and responsibility of any other likely contender to do the same, so that he can have an approval from his base. So that once they are alive on the table, I don't think that every one of them should be a president. There has to be what we call sacrifice for a particular cause. And this particular one, I'm still very sure and confident that men and women who will sit on that particular table will cede their interest to have one common presidential candidate. And that will be a live done.
Fair enough. Asante sana. Over to you, Senator. Final remarks.
Thank you so much for having us. And one of my favorite quotes that I would love to leave with you is from the former CEO of Facebook. She's called Sheryl Sandberg. And she said that someday we will not have female leaders. We will have just leaders. And I think our colleague here is speaking futuristically. That is like 100 years from now. He's thinking of a situation whereby a leader should just be elected, not because of gender, but because they are a good leader. At that point, we will have reached the equilibrium level or point of operation of our country and of both genders to coexist mutually. And to my fellow Kenyans, it's important that we learn that this country is us. The people are the country. If today we all die, the land is left, it will not be the Kenya our forefathers envisioned. And so therefore, it's a collective responsibility to say no to corruption. And it's the little things that matter. We have to start from the little things. Do not litter. Do not bribe. Do not insult others. Do not tolerate injustice. Do not oppress your neighbor. Live harmoniously. Tell the truth. When we do this, we will move forward. As a budding democracy in Africa, we owe it to other Africans to keep progressing. We owe it to ourselves and to the future generations. But if we don't do this, in a few years' time, we will be the laughingstock when small nations like Rwanda are overtaking us in showing responsibility for not just ourselves, but our environment and consequently the whole country. Thank you.
Sana. Daktari, final.
Mine is, as we move towards general election 2027, I'd like to address the public, the Kenyan people, that we need to be peaceful. We need to play our politics in a respectful manner, with a lot of respect to women candidates. The reason why women are too few in politics and the reason why women are very few in parliament is because very few women candidates run for these positions. They're afraid of violence, they're afraid of abuses and intimidation, and that's why you have very few women running for political posts. If we want women to be in parliament, to be on equal terms with men, then we must create a peaceful environment that women can also run equally alongside men. So that the future will consider women as well. Two-thirds gender rule will be realized automatically because more women will be running for various positions. But the more we have violence, the more we are corrupt, the more we abuse women, we will have very few women running and becoming candidates for various political positions. So 2027 comes, God willing, we're alive, we will want to preach peace as we campaign. Thank you for giving us this opportunity.
It's been a riveting discussion, as the white men say, and it's proper to know that this room is not short of political ambitions. We have a gentleman who wants to be governor, a woman rep who wants to be member of parliament, a nominated senator who's eyeing a senatorial position. All the best, ladies and gents. And as members of the Fourth Estate, we'll be here to articulate your issues and highlight some of the issues that Kenyans really want canvassed by their elected leaders. I was joined in studio by the three legislators, Dr. Christina Mbaka, who's a woman representative of Siaya County. Asante sana for your input. Equally joined by James Gakuya, Member of Parliament, Embakasi North Constituency. Asante sana for your time. And last but not least, Hezena Letian, who is a nominated senator. Thanks so much. Hoping to have more panels like this more frequently as we walk the talk in terms of the gender role. My name is Jesse Rogers. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you've been adequately informed. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. Good evening.